I get these ads over YouTube constantly, and I'm sure you've seen them if you're doing a nootropic search. And that is Qualia Mind. Probably one of the largest formulations for a nootropic supplement you will find on the market. But is it any good? I'm going to run you through all the usuals, the ingredients, the dosages, the price, and if there are better nootropic supplements available for you to try to improve cognitive function. And as always, everything will be down in the description if you wish to purchase this or any other nootropic. But typically I start with the ingredients list and the dosages because that is the most important part of any supplement. But for this one, I want to start somewhere else because I think it is the biggest potential hindrance to you using something like this. And that is the price. It is the most expensive nootropic supplement by 2 or 3 or more X. So let's run down how this pans out. For one bottle, which is 22 servings, is $159. To me, that already sounds insane. That's $7.22 per serving as a one-time purchase. To put this into perspective, typically per serving, you're looking at around $1.30, $1.50-ish, up to about $2.50 per serving for most nootropic supplements that have decent formulas. Some may even go up to $3 per serving, but that's typically the range. This is far outside that range. And I'm going to run through the ingredients soon to see if that's worth it. If you get it on subscription, $139, which comes to $6.31 per serving, which is still over double the typical per serving price of a nootropic supplement. Now they do get you in with the first bottle, which only costs $39. And obviously they're trying to use that to hook you into the more expensive subscription packages. So right off the bat, if that price scares you for a nootropic supplement, look elsewhere. And we've got plenty more reviews on the channel to help you with that. And I will give you some recommendations at the end too. But let's start with the ingredients list because it is the most comprehensive ingredients list you'll find just from the number of ingredients in there. So let's do a quick rundown. We have acetyl L-carnitine at 500 milligrams. Most of the research is done in animal studies. It's not very well studied, to be honest, as a brain enhancer, especially with human studies showing various results, including alterations in brain chemistry and function in Alzheimer's patients, and improvements in cognitive impairments in other populations. But outside of that, there's not too much going for it. We then have artichoke leaf extract at 400 milligrams. What's interesting is that combining artichoke extract with aerobic training enhances cognitive status in elderly people with mild cognitive impairment while lowering blood glucose and insulin resistance. And I would argue most of that is probably from the aerobic training. But it is in there because it is seen as a prebiotic and antioxidant. So bear that in mind. We then have Bacopa Monnieri, which is probably one of my favorite nootropic ingredients, just because of it's relatively well studied compared to others. It has 300 milligrams, which is right in the dosing range to be able to improve memory formation, recall, and cognitive function. It may also help improve attention and mood. Moving on to rhodiola rosea, 300 milligrams, probably one of the higher doses compared to other nootropic supplements. It has been shown to boost mood and lessen symptoms of anxiety, stress, and depression. We have phenylalanine, which I can never say as well, but 300 milligrams of that, again, probably one of the larger doses as well in most nootropic supplements. We see dosages upwards of 1.2 grams, improving mood and focus in people with attention deficit disorder. And in people with depression, 75 to 200 milligrams a day resulted in significant improvements in 12 of the 20 patients. So there is something there potentially. We have tyrosine, which is always underdosed in every supplement because you can't fit more than 2 grams in a capsule. But typically you'll see improved cognitive function under stress. We have taurine at 200 milligrams. Actually works really well with caffeine, which you have an option of having caffeine on it, and this one does have caffeine, but taurine and you have L-theanine, both at 200 milligrams. Both have synergistic effects with caffeine, which is actually really nice if you want something with stimulants. I prefer to have no stimulants in my nootropics. That's just my personal preference because the caffeine actually gives you most of the benefits anyway. But typically we see higher amounts of taurine associated with improved performance, and in consuming taurine, it reduces the need for higher caffeine doses. And then the L-theanine pairs well with caffeine by taking the edge off and giving you a smoother energy, especially when paired in that 2-to-1 ratio, which it is. 90 milligrams of caffeine and 200 milligrams of L-theanine, pretty close. And I've done all different ratios of L-theanine and caffeine, and they've all worked for me. But even if you got this without caffeine, L-theanine is still a great ingredient to help relieve stress and anxiety. Probably one of the only ones I've really felt work well. We have alpha-GPC at 200 milligrams. It may improve memory and focus, and is a precursor to a neurotransmitter. to raise acetylcholine levels, which may help improve memory. We also have Citicoline at 150 milligrams, plus we have a little bit of extra of choline under the vitamin section as well, with another 110 milligrams. We're looking at typically around 500 milligrams a day to improve memory in the elderly. Again, if we pair this along with alpha GPC, you're actually getting a lot of choline in this. You're getting a dose high enough to potentially see these benefits, which is one of the first nootropic supplements that you have enough choline. We then have our caffeine, obviously the most potent brain performance enhancer. We have velvet bean, known as L-Dopa, and a lot of other nootropic supplements at 100 milligrams. It has neuroprotective properties. However, unfortunately, there's no current evidence that suggests that L-Dopa improves learning and cognitive performance in healthy individuals. So it may only be something that works in people who already have cognitive decline. Then we have my favorite ingredient that I can ever pronounce, Phosphatidylserine, 100 milligrams. That's pretty much the standard dose across the board in nootropic supplements. And interestingly, it may help counteract cognitive loss as the brain ages by boosting memory formation, learning, focus, and problem solving. The doses range anywhere from 100 to 800 milligrams, so you do have enough in there. You also have algae DHA, which is 80 milligrams, which is essentially your vegan option of a fish oil to get the EPA DHA. And DHA enhances adult mental abilities, particularly when combined with EPA. Now, there's no EPA in this, so ideally you'll be taking a fish oil supplement anyway. Ginkgo biloba is also in here at 50 milligrams. Probably one of, again, a more well-researched nootropic supplement. Clinical trials have demonstrated that it improves working memory and processing speed. However, its efficacy in healthy adults under 60 remains uncertain, so bear that in mind. Another ingredient I can never pronounce is Coleus Forscohili root, 20 milligrams. It's actually an Indian medicinal herb, and it's potentially known for its fat-burning qualities, which is quite interesting. But outside of that, I haven't found much in terms of cognitive function. And to round it out, we have Huperzine A, 5 milligrams, which is in a lot of nootropic supplements. And it's in there usually because of its speculative promises around improving cognitive function and to help Alzheimer's patients. So that rounds out the full formula of Qualia Mind. Now, do I think it is worth the $140 to $160 or $6 to $7 per serving price? Unfortunately not. If you have the money to spend, you're getting a pretty well-rounded and comprehensive formula, but it just doesn't meet those price expectations in my opinion. There are other nootropic supplements that give great brain boosting benefits, such as MindLab Pro, Hunter Focus, NuCube, all of these at a fraction of the price. And I think if you can get the brain boosting benefits from a formula that is going to be a third of the price per serving, it is much better to do that than to spend so much on something like this, which isn't going to last you a month. You're going to have to go through 1 1/3 bottle just to get through a month's supply, which is going to cost even more than $140 to $160. So if you want to see what we recommend instead, check out this video because we go through the 5 best nootropics for memory and focus, and you'll see which one we recommend as our number 1.